In this tutorial, you'll learn how to use the dropper tool to choose a foreground or background color from any open image. The dropper tool helps you get the exact color you want so your designs are matching and consistent. Before we get started, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you'll find a link in the description below that will take you to our tutorial page on the Discovery Center. Here you can download a written copy of this tutorial to follow along. Let's get started. I have a project I'm working on opened up in PaintShop Pro opened in the Complete workspace. To use the dropper tool, click on the dropper tool icon on the Tools toolbar. Alternatively, you can press E on your keyboard. If you look at the Tool Options palette, there are a few options available. You can select a pixel sample size from the drop-down list. And you can select or deselect the Use All Layers checkbox to sample from all image layers. You can also select a color profile, which allows you to see the color you are sampling in the different color models, for example RGB or CMYK. There is also the Sample and Fill icon, which we will cover later in this tutorial. I'm going to leave these settings as they are by default. Now let's open up the Materials palette so you can see how the dropper tool works by going to Palettes, then Materials. To use the dropper tool, position the cursor over the color on the image that you want to use. Left-click to use the foreground color, or right-click to choose the background color. Here's a tip that can help you save time. You can also choose a color from the image while using brush tools, such as the paintbrush or the eraser tool, by holding down Control to activate the dropper tool and clicking in the image to choose a foreground color, or right-clicking to choose a background color. You can also sample and fill with the color that you have selected with the dropper tool. With the dropper tool active, go to the Tool Options palette and click the Sample and Fill button. Then use the dropper tool to select the color you want to sample. After you do this, the tool icon will automatically change to a fill icon. Note that the last settings you used for the flood fill tool determine how the fill spreads and interacts with the background. And now you can click the area that you want to fill on your selected layer with the sampled color. You can also choose a color from the desktop using the dropper tool. First, make sure that the color you want to sample is displayed on the screen. We can sample colors over the area of the desktop that has the color we want, and this includes other open windows or displayed web pages. However, first you have to resize the PaintShop Pro window so that both PaintShop Pro and the area you want to sample from are visible on the screen at the same time. So let's say I want to sample a color from this logo here that I have opened in my computer gallery. I'll resize the PaintShop Pro window and the open gallery so both are visible. Now I'll go to the Materials palette that we opened up earlier and click the Sample Color button, which is the eyedropper icon. Next, simply position your pointer over the area of the desktop that has the color you want and click to select the color. The color we just sampled will now appear in the Active Color or Properties box. Another tip is that you can add the color swatch to a custom palette by clicking the plus sign. So if you wanted to use the color you sampled from the logo in the future, it would be easy to access from the custom palette. And it's just that simple to use the dropper tool in PaintShop Pro to get the exact color scheme you want for your projects and designs. If you're watching this video on YouTube, you'll find a link in the description below that will take you to our tutorial page on the Discovery Center. Here you can download a written copy of this tutorial to follow along and find other helpful tutorials for PaintShop Pro.